Welcome, good evening. Welcome to those that are here in person, those that are watching online. Facebook, YouTube, I want to remind you to subscribe, to like, to share. We're dedicating today's class to the neshama of Akiva ben Avram. His neshama should have an aliyah. And Hashem Yimkem Damai. We're in the middle of a discussion about the earth that's placed in the vial, which is used as part of the process of the carbon for the ledge Sotah. The discussion was the earth that's taken, does it have to be from the ground of the Mishkan, or could you take it from somewhere else and bring it to the Mishkan? But here the Gemara has and we brought various different proofs of what the word Bakarka Mishkan could mean. There was an opinion, and this is important to remember going further, that it means it came from the ground, but you could take it from any ground, but you can't take it from the box, which is outside the Mishkan. People in those days, they didn't have, for the most part, they didn't have proper flooring, or the flooring they were accustomed today. They had a box outside their home, and when the floor got dirty or stained or whatever, they would take some of the earth and refinish it or fill it in. So you would think that maybe you could take from there, but you can't. It has to be from the earth. The other opinion is no, it has to be from the earth where the Mishkan is. When it says Bakarka, it means Bakarka, specifically in the Mishkan itself. But that aside for a moment, we have a following question. There's about 5 lines from the top. Ein Sham Afar, let's assume that you don't have any earth over there. Ma'u Shayitin Efer, can you use ashes instead of earth, mud, dirt, for the carbon, for the water? According to Beis Shammai, this is not even a question. Because they say, we don't find anywhere in the Torah that ashes is interchangeable or ashes is called earth. So it says earth, it means earth and not ashes. When will you have a question? According to Beis Hillel, it would be a question. Because they say, we do find that ashes are called offer. What's the din? Do you say afagav the ikri offer, even though it's called offer hachar bekarka mishkan ksiv? It's true that ashes is sometimes called earth, but here the Torah specifically says take it from the earth, the ground of the Mishkan. So you can't say it's ashes. Or do you say hi bekarka mishkan lekidisi ben Yehuda ukidisi ben Menachem udaasi? Or do you say, as I mentioned just before we started, that maybe the word bakarka is not inferring that it has to be from the earth? It could be ashes too. It's coming to teach you the halacha of that Isi ben Yehuda or Isi ben Menachem said that it has to be from the earth anywhere, and not from the box right outside that they used to collect earth in for later use. But if it's ashes, that would be okay because bakarka doesn't negate that. Toshma, let's try to answer this. The Omar Rabbi Yechanan and Rabbi Shmuel. We have a teaching from Rabbi Yechanan and Rabbi Shmuel. There are 3 places that halacha l'meisha misina, which is tradition passed down from Moses to Yeshua and so on and so forth, that it overrides something which clearly says in a pasuk. Normally, nothing could override that, but there's a tradition in 3 places. The Torah said be'afar, halacha b'chol davar. It says the word be'afar, and it applies in all different places. This is regards to the halacha that when you slaughter a bird, chicken, you have to cover the blood. And the Torah says you should cover it with earth. Halacha meisha misina is it doesn't have to be earth. You can cover it with anything. The point is it should be covered. Another example, the second one the Mishnah brings, the Brisa brings, it says that you have to, when it comes to the mitzvah and the shaving of the mitzvah, it says use a nazir, it says use a tar, and it could be with anything. Doesn't matter what tool you use. Razor, not a razor. The third one says sefer. It talks about a divorce. In the Torah, it says you have to write the get on a sefer, which would mean parchment. And the truth is, the tradition is it doesn't have to be specifically that. It could be anything. Okay, that's halacha. The imisa. And if you want to tell me that although it says in our pasuk regarding Sotah offer, and you want to say that it doesn't mean just earth, it also means ashes, lichashiv nami hai, you should say that as well here in this Mishnah as well. You tell me there's 3 cases. There's actually 4. Because in our case, you could interchange earth for ashes if that was indeed the case. So when it answers Tana V'Shir, the Mishnah is learning it, teaching us which things Halacha Meisha Sinai overrides the pasuk, but he left over some. He didn't say every single case. What did the high shir? What else did he leave over? He left this over. Shir mitzayda. He left over the halacha when it comes to mitzayda. We also have another detail which the Mishnah did not explicitly say that there's something specific here. And halacha Meisha Messina did teach us that. The Tanya, because we learned on the seventh day, the process of the mitzayda is his entire body gets shaved. Klau. And that is a general term, the whole body. It's not specific, everywhere. But then the Torah continues and it says, Klau. Then it says, Esreishay, Vezkane, Veskabes Enov. Then it says his head, his beard, and his eyebrows. Parat, that's a detail. The whole body, and then it says head, hair, eyebrows. And then it says, and then the Torah continues and says, his hair he should shave off, which is again a general term. You start with general, then you went to specific, and then you went to general again. And we have a rule that when the Torah uses that type of teaching, generalization, specification, and then generalization, it's coming to teach you something. When Torah does that, you only learn, we say this in davening every morning, you only could infer from here things that are like the specification. In our case, ma prat mefurash makem kino seir v'nira. Just like when it talks about the specification, what was it? It was beard, head, beard, and eyebrows. Those three examples are a gathering of hair and visible. It's parts of the body that anyone could see. It's not usually covered. Maybe today with a mask would be different. It's not usually covered. Similarly, any place where there is the gathering of hair, v'nira, and it's seen, Torah says those parts of the body by mitzvah it should be shaved off. Ma Rabbi, what's he coming to add here? What's the chiddush here? Rabbi Seir Haraglayim, that the hair that's on the legs of the mitzvah, it's also gathered, it's also technically visible, and that part should also be shaved off. My miyet, what did he come to exclude in this format of saying generalization, specification, and generalization, which is kal prato klau? Miyet the beis hashechi udekule gufa. He's talking about under the arms and the rest of the body. That in those places it's either not collected or it's not visible. Hilchasa migaleach kidlas. Although it says all that, and meaning we learn from the pasuk of kal prato klau that certain parts of the body do not get shaved. Nonetheless, it says migaleach kidlas, he gets completely shaved off, top to bottom, all over. See another example that the Mishnah tells us there's three cases that the pasuk says one thing, but we have a tradition that it's differently. Here's a fourth one. Just like there's a fourth one, there's a fifth one by Sotah as well to teach you that although it says earth, you could also use ashes for the ingredients of the water. Where do you know this? That you shave off the entire body. When it comes to clean off, shave off the mitzvah, you bring the razor over his entire body, even the areas of hair that are covered. We learned in the Seifa. The second shaving is like the first one. So the Gemara answers, when the Mishnah is telling us about things that are overriding overriding a pasuk, here it's not literally in the Torah, it's only the Rabbanan. You can't bring this as a proof because the mitzvah thing issue is midrabanan. Kal prat kal is not a pasuk that's teaching you this. It's a inferring midrabanan. So Allah Meishav said I could change that principle when it's needed. Papa Amar Kikul Chashav Halacha Ikeves Veikeres Ha'Ikeves Umeisefesi. When is the Mishnah talking about a pasuk which comes and changes a tradition comes and changes a pasuk? That is only when it comes to undo it. But over here, it's coming to add something. Not only does he shave this part of the body, also the other part of the body. It's not saying not to; it's saying in addition. Rashi says, Hamas Nisa money. Who is this Mishnah? We have a whole different answer here. This Mishnah is according to Rabbi Shmuel. The Darish Kol Yuprati. This whole Mishnah is according to Rabbi Shmuel. He teaches Klal Prat. Kidilas money. But this Mishnah that you brought as a proof that says his entire body gets shaved, and therefore you were inferring that something changed here. And although the Klal Prat will teach you only certain parts, we learned from there that it's the whole body. That's not Rabbi Shmuel. That's according to Rabbi Akiva. Because Rabbi Akiva has a different way of learning. There's one way of learning Klal Prat Klal, general specification in general, teaches you that you could change it as needed, if needed. Rabbi Akiva, he learned something else. When Torah comes to add something and then excludes something and then adds it again, that's a different way of learning that you could infer a deduction from. The Tanya, how do you know that Rabbi Akiva has this way of learning? Ribu Yomiyot, Pasuk says, on the seventh day, he should shave off his entire hair. Riba, entire means everything. Then he adds, it's Reishev, it's Kanev, it's Gabes Enov, Miyet. Now he's excluding. He's saying those are the areas that you should do it. That's called Sari Galeach Chazav Riba. And then he says everything. So you came and you added. First you said everything. Then you said, no, only certain parts. Then you implied that it's everything. Riba, Umiyet Riba. Riba Hakel. My Riba. Riba Dukule Gufei. What is he coming to add? The entire body. My Miyet Seir Shabbatecha Chaitam. What he's excluding here is hair that's in the nostrils. Hair that's in the nostrils does not get shaved by a mitzvah. So it's a whole different way of learning. You could learn klal prato klal, or you could learn ribi umud according to the Akiva. My havalas. What's the bottom line? What happens? Can you use ashes for the Sotah, or does it have to be specifically earth? We tried to learn from here, but there's a difference of opinion and multiple answers. What's the bottom line? You could bring ruined or spoiled. It's really the dust of vegetables. I guess it's a compost. What's it called? Composite? Compost. Yeah. Or something like that. Umekadish. You could use that as well. In fact, it's not the case because the technically speaking, the dust of I said compost. I don't know if it really is compost in this case. From this answer, it seems that it's not. It's really the dust of these vegetables is really considered to be earth. But ashes are not earth. So, in conclusion, you can't use ashes. Okay, next piece. Kadesha yira ala mayim. We said you take the vial of cheres, the Mishnah said, you put in water, and you put in enough dirt that it should be seen in the water. You can't just put a drop. It has to be visible. Gemara says, Tan Rabbanan, we learned, Shleisha tzrichen sheyiru. There are three situations where you have to be able to see it. Offer Sotah, the earth that goes in the Sotah's process. The Efer Para, when you do the red heifer, the Para Aduma, it has to be seen. The Reik Yivama, and a Yivama, which is the brother of a husband that died without children. He has to marry his husband's wife. If he doesn't want to, then they could do, if she doesn't want to, they could do chalitza. Part of the chalitza process is spitting. She spits and she says, this person doesn't want to build up the family or the house of his brother. That spit has to be seen. So we have earth of Sotah, we have the ashes of the paraduma, and the spit of the Yivama. He says also when it comes to the blood of a tzipar, which gets shechted, the blood has to be seen as well. My time with Rabbi Shmuel, why does Rabbi Shmuel say that the blood also has to be visible? It gets mixed with water. It has to be visible in the water. The pasuk clearly states you should immerse it in the blood of the bird. Vitanya, and we learned, I would think it's in blood and not in water, which water is part of the process. But Torah does say water. If it says water, I would think that it has to go into water, but not into blood. So Torah says it has to be in the blood. Okay, so how does this work? Is it water or is it blood? How does it work? Maybe mayim, shadam tzipor nikar bahan. You bring water, which means not too much, so that the blood should be visible in the water. The kama, what is that amount? Revius, it's a revius, which is 3.5 ounces or so. V'rabonon hahu legufei. And Rabbanan says, no, this bidam is telling you specifically you have to be able to have it, you have to do it itself. The hachik amar Rahman, this is what Torah says. At bil bidam u b'mayim. Dip it into blood and water. Rabbi Yishmael says, you don't have to say blood and water. Torah, remember, is very specific, doesn't use extra words. So if you want to say, just say, immerse it in them, and I would know it's blood and water. Bidamu mayim lamali. Why do I have to have blood and water specifically stated? Linika, that it has to be noticeable. And that's our proof. Rabbanan says, if Torah would have said in them, I would think each one on its own. Dip it into water and dip it into blood. Say the reason why Torah uses both of these words is to tell you that it has to be mixed together. Rabbi Yishmael, how does he know about mixing? There's another passage which says, so because it says you should shecht it, he learns from that passage that it has to be mixed together. You don't need to have dam and mayim separately. And the reason why it says dam and mayim is because it has to be noticeable. The Rabbanon, they say, if you want to learn out from that passage of I would say that maybe you have to shecht it in front of the bowl, or the dish. And then you should squeeze the veins, better word for it, of the arteries, thank you, of the bird. So you're blocking the blood. And then shecht it over one spot, block it, so no blood comes out, then move it to the other vessel, and then the blood will go in there. It does not have to be that case. So according to Rabbanan, or according to Rabbi Yishmael, but the point is that we have another case where it has to be seen, in addition to Sotah, Faraduma, and what's the third one? Yivama, thank you. Yeah. Rabbi Yirmiyah asked the following question: we said you put in, it's a small bird, you put in a revius, that's the amount of water that you need. What if it's very big and it pushes away the water, so it's not immersed, or it's very small and it's just, drowned in the water? It's big and it pushes away, or it's small and it's the water just washes it away. Mahu, it's not seen, meaning. Did I not tell you, don't take yourself out of the halacha, which means Chazal told us something, they meant what they said. The tzipor drer, shiru Rabbanan are talking about a tzipor drer, which is a specific size, and you're not going to have that issue. It doesn't exist. It's a very small bird. That's what Chazal are talking about, and it doesn't. You don't have this issue. Follow or pay attention. He says, listen to what Chazal say. Don't go out of the halacha. If the person put the earth before the water, then it is possible. It's invalid. Rabbi Shimon, he argues with Tanakama. He says, machshir, it's kosher. It's fine. My time with Rabbi Shimon. What's his proof? It says you should take for the impure one from the earth of the burning of the chatos. And we learned, Rabbi Shimon said, you think it's earth? It's ashes. It's just burnt the chatos. The pasuk changed in the meaning to teach you a limud of gzeira shava. What's the comparison? Nemar kan offer. It says here earth. Nemar halan offer. It says over there earth. Mal halan offer gabe mayim. Afkan offer gabe mayim. Just like over there, it says earth on water, which means first. Over here also, it means water has to go first and the earth comes on top. Similarly over here by Sotah, it has to be first water and then offer on top of that. Just like over here, you put if you put the earth first, it's kosher. Over there also, if you put the earth before the water, it'll still be fine. You just stated a statement that if you put the earth first, it's fine. How do you know this? It says two psukim. Ksiv olav, it says on him, alma efer bereisha, which means ashes come first. Put the water on it, right? Ksiv mayim chayim al keli, and it says living waters into the dish. Alma mayim bereisha, so you see the water comes first, because el keli means it goes into the vessel first. not into the earth. Which one is it? Ratza Zen Naisin. Ratza Zen Naisin. If you want to do, you can put this one first, that one first. That's according to Tanakama. The Rabbanan, El Keli Dafke Olav La'arvan. El Keli means that you have to mix it in. You first put the water and then the earth on top, and you can mix it. Eim Olav Dafke El Kli. Shtei Chayusim B'Kli. Ma'amatzim L'Chamakei Machshel L'Mayla Avka Machshel L'Mayla. So the Rabbanan say no, because we find in all places that it could work. It's fine when it's on top. Over here also, it's fine when it is on top. Which basically, in other cases, when you put earth in, that makes the water fitting for use. So over here also, you could apply the same thinking as do in other places. It's rare that we finish the piece exactly at the end of the Amud, but this is what we just did. Thanks for joining. The Shamash Rav and Aliyah, and if you know no more of these types of unfortunate and tragic situations, Mashiach now.